Top of the afternoon to you. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's
Coming
Day.
to you live here at the Egyptian Theater. I'm Alex, Executive Director here.
And I'm Janine, Marketing Communications Director.
And we've got Brandon behind the camera there. So we are doing, for the first time ever,
Yes.
a virtual hard hat tour. If you didn't know, although I think most of you, as our Facebook fans, are well aware, we are under a massive construction project right now, and we have been since May 1st of last year. And to share that with the public, every Tuesday night at 5:30, we have been doing free hard hat tours to give kind of a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on and watch the improvements as they go along. We've had some really great turnouts.
Yep.
We've been doing this for a couple of months now, and with everything going on right now, we thought it wasn't appropriate to continue the public tours.
No.
But we know a lot of people are really anxious and excited to keep watching all the progress here. So we thought, why not do virtual? So our plan is over the next couple of weeks to do this every Tuesday night at 5:30, just like we would normally do the tours, except they're going to be virtual tours. And we want this to be interactive, so if you have questions as we go along, please go ahead and type them in as we're watching this live. If you're watching this later, I guess you can still type a comment and we'll answer it after the fact. But Brandon behind the camera will try and keep an eye on your questions. And so if you have questions as we go through the tour, go ahead and ask those. So anything you want to talk about as we get underway here? All righty. So why don't we go ahead and zoom in here. I'll look at a couple of things first. So up here are renderings of the expansion. If you see the front doors on 2nd Street here, the expansion is to the south side of the main lobby into the alley here. And you can see the alley is going to continue to stay open there. And the front doors of that new addition will just be set back from the front doors. And that you can already see from 2nd Street. The building's been enclosed for a couple of months now. We don't have the doors or the glass window in yet. That'll be going in towards the end of the project, since we're still using those openings to get construction materials in and out of there. So we'll take a look at the blueprints here and kind of give you a quick overview of what we're actually doing with the project here. So this is the front doors right now on 2nd Street, the main lobby. These are the staircases that go up to the mezzanine, that go up to the balcony. And this is our rear lobby. If you've been here before, you know our concession stand is back here. We've got our aisle doors that go into the theater, so that kind of orientates you. And this was our exterior wall. All of this darker area here is the new addition. So we are adding a dramatic increase in restrooms. The main floor alone, we're going from a women's restroom that only had 3 stalls, and that's going to be increasing to 14 stalls. Very excited about that. The men's restroom currently has 3 stalls, 3 urinals. That's going to be going to 4 stalls, 10 urinals. So the men are not forgotten. Both restrooms are increasing quite a bit. So right here is where our restrooms are currently, and those are going to be demolished, and that will open up to a new restroom vestibule that will split off to the 2 new restrooms. And we're going to show you all of this throughout the tour here tonight. The concession stand is also going to go away and get bigger. That will go from 2 serving stations to 4 serving stations. Currently, it's the only 2 serving stations in the entire building. So with 1,400 seats, we do not have enough. So that's going to be going to 4 serving stations, and we will also be getting our own liquor license for the first time to have that in-house. Back behind here is a new storage room, as well as a small prep kitchen that will help support the new concession stand there. Up on the 2nd floor, we are replacing the restrooms up there as well. Currently, there are 2 women's stalls, and the men's has 1 stall, 1 urinal. That's going to be going to 6 stalls in the women's restroom and 3 stalls, 5 urinals in the men's restroom. So those are getting basically 3 times as big as they are right now. And then we're also really excited in the 2nd floor here in the mezzanine, this new expanded foyer area with a new concession stand. So we'll have a permanent concession stand on the 2nd floor with 2 serving stations there. So we're going to be going from 2 right now to 6 total in the building, which will be awesome when we have bigger shows here, as well as with some storage up there. What's not on these drawings is in the basement, which will hopefully take you down on this tour and show you the new mechanical spaces there. Yes,
I have
go
a
ahead.
question. Hello to Roxanne and Stacy, some
Yay!
stellar volunteers. And got a question from Michaela. Yes, these dots here, these are pillars that right now are hidden in the existing wall. They are being repurposed as such. The back two will be congregating posts where you at events can take your drink and gather
Have a
around
drink
them.
ledge right around there, so you'll
kinda
be able
like
to
a
set your
cocktail
drink.
table.
Yeah, just with a pillar in it.
So,
Yes.
good question,
You know.
Michaela.
Yes, thank you for your questions.
So we'll show you, we've been doing this on all of our hard hat tours. We've been trying to explain to people why we are so excited about storage.
Yes.
And those of you that are watching, there are volunteers here, you know this, but the public doesn't necessarily know. So this is one of our storage rooms right now, and as you can see, it is very full. There's, how many, 50 cases of water?
50 some odd cases.
It's our water closet.
We have water in there, there's light bulbs in there, a shower
shower.
closet. So we desperately need more storage in this building. If you've ever been on one of our tours, you've heard us talk about that in 1929, during the construction of the theater, the stock market crashed. It's kind of a touchy subject right now.
Yeah, it's not
But because of the crash of the stock market, they could not finish construction as originally planned, and a couple of those things that got cut was storage, and office space, and kind of all of that ancillary space to support the operations of the theater. And so we're really excited to increase the amenities that the public sees, as well as all of those kind of behind-the-scenes amenities that will help us make that experience here fantastic.
Yeah.
So things are kind of chaotic throughout the lobby space right now. Since we are currently closed down with no events in the next couple of weeks, with everything that's going on, we've decided to kind of go full steam ahead with construction and try and get as much stuff done as we possibly can. So let's start taking you around and show you what's going on. So first up here in the rear lobby, if you recall, we had two drinking fountains right here. This was a wall, and there was a staircase that used to go down to our old mechanical basement. That staircase is now gone, and this wall is now gone. This will be a new double set of doors that's going to open up into the back storage room. And so they took this wall out just last week and are starting to frame it up. You see here the framing for the new doorway there. Leads right into which was our concession stand. Some fun trivia. When the theater first opened in 1929, there was actually no concession stand here. And that was very common of a lot of historic theaters, or not at that time weren't historic, but the theaters in the 20s. It wasn't until talkies, the full feature films, that started coming out that theater owners noticed that people were bringing snacks in to make it through these long films, and so concession stands started getting added. And the very first concession stand here was actually back in the corner here, was just a small one kind of in the corner, and that grew and grew through the years. And then the one that most of you are most familiar with was installed in 1983 during the last major restoration. And we just started taking this down yesterday. So you can go in, come in a little bit closer here and take a look. For those of you that have been here before, you will hopefully kind of recognize some of the remaining pieces. This has all just happened in the last 24 hours. Janine's been hard at work with the hammer here. Our old candy cases, pop machine is coming out this week. You can see all the cabinets back there been completely empty. Popcorn machine is gone. So we are getting ready to completely clear this out. And Janine wants to show us how we'll be getting into the new concession stand once the new concession stand is built. This is a new opening. There was a wall there, and that's going to open up and be the new access way to get from... very helpful. So any questions coming in on concessions here? So we're really excited to start moving forward with this. This is going to be a huge improvement for everyone that comes to our shows, to be able to have more serving stations here, to have a liquor license in-house, to be able to offer that at more events. And we also look forward to kind of expanding our menu and offering some new menu items.
Yeah.
So very excited about that. So if you want to follow Janine into restrooms, or if you want to kind of explain restrooms in the rear lobby here.
So as we showed you on the blueprints, this existing wall now is all going to come down. So this long wall here is going to extend into where our current exterior wall is sitting, which will now be the entrance into the new bathrooms. So if you want to follow me this way, ladies, you're already gonna notice something different. So you used to walk in, and there used to be a wall right here, which was kind of odd, but now it's gone. So we have opened up. See, the plaster is gone from here, and we've taken down all of the stalls in the women's bathroom. So pretty changing even in 24 hours. Yesterday they were in here taking down the stalls, and today we came in and took down this wall. So we're going full steam ahead with the demo in this room, because again, this whole structure is going to come down to make way into the new rear lobby. So again, you'll be walking in, I know there's much plaster, into this new restroom vestibule where we're standing right now. And you'll get to go either to the right for women's, left for men's. We got our new drinking fountain, and then, as you can see in our women's bathroom, it's going to be quite a difference from what we just saw, which granted is not in its best state.
Yeah.
However, not much of a difference, if you're asking my opinion. So come on in and see our lovely new women's bathroom. So, much bigger. Much more appropriate color pattern, much more appropriate just overall design style. It feels like you are still in the Egyptian theater, which was very much the intention with the pics of the tile work. This is very much picking up on that lotus flower motif. That is definitely a strong architectural element in the rest of the design of the Egyptian theater. So we wanted to have those little touches of parts of our architecture that make sense. Like when you walk in, you still feel like you're at the Egyptian theater. And you're starting to see what's going to be the partitions for the bathroom stalls. So they are wood. And this was intentional because we do know that the upstairs bathroom of the women's bathroom is original, and they had wood partitions. We really wanted to bring in those, again, stylistic elements that are original to the theater that could have been here in 1929. With that is also our lovely floor. So we have these 1x1 hexagons. Upstairs in the mezzanine women's bathroom, we have 1x1 squares that are black and white. Surprisingly, 1x1 tile is not super popular right now. So we were able to find this, which still, again, harkens back to the original design with those 1x1 tiles, the more stylistic look with the marble field tile. Again, with the original floor of the lobby was meant to be marble. The stock market crashed, and they were able to save money by making it into a mosaic tile. So again, just these stylistic elements that we really wanted to make it feel intentional, that we aren't just being like, well, that's in style now in 2019, and then again in 35 years going, why the heck did they pick this? So we wanted it to seem timeless. We wanted it to seem Art Deco in at least inspiration, because that is the absolute architectural style of the rest of the building. So we wanted it to feel that we made this decision to be part of the Egyptian theater. Anything we missed?
Yeah, so progress so far, as you can see, tile is pretty much done in here. Sinks are in, countertops are in, mirrors are in, hand dryers are in as well. These are very unique, and you've seen Janine play with these on some previous videos, but these are brand new Dyson hand dryers that are way better than anything else on the market. They dry faster. With everything that's going on right now in the world, it's kind of timely that these new hand dryers have a special HEPA filter and actually have a certified rating, so they're not going to breed any germs, bacteria, anything else like that. So we're really excited to be able to make those advancements. So again, as we talked about earlier, there are 14 new toilets in the restroom here. We'll give you a little explanation for why there's only one sconce on the wall. So this is what the new sconces in the bathroom is going to look like. Again, we thought it looked kind of like a lotus flower that is picked up in the architecture all throughout the building. And we only have one of these right now. We need 13, and because of the coronavirus outbreak, a lot of the factories in China had to shut down, and currently that sconce is on back order till possibly June. So what we're going to do, we have sourced locally as cheap of a sconce as we could find. We're going to be putting this up on all of the spots where we need the permanent sconces to go up, so we can get these bathrooms open and operating and not have to wait until those permanent sconces actually get in. So these are not as pretty, and we feel like we need to put some notes on these saying these are not the permanent ones.
We know.
Yes.
We want the other ones.
The pretty ones will be coming soon. So.
Stacy, we love that we are keeping the wood partitions as well. Dan says, hello, Egyptian staff.
Oh,
Well,
hey
hello
friends.
there.
Mary, we could not agree more. The floor is awesome.
Yes, we do agree.
As well as the dryers are very timely.
Yes.
Yes.
Last thing in here, you want to explain these
Oh,
stations?
yes. So, we have had, especially Alex, has had the ability to tour multiple historic theaters across the country. And when we get to go on tours, we're getting to see men's and women's bathrooms, which normally you're not when you're going to theater, getting to see both sides. And one of the major trends in especially theaters from the 20s, 30s, 40s is the difference of a women's bathroom being powder room and the men's is more masculine. So with that, if you've ever been to like a theater like the Chicago, you kind of walk into a smaller room, which is meant to be the powder room, and then you walk into the restroom. Well, we didn't have the space to do the full powder room entryway, but we wanted to pay, again, tribute to what would have been here had they had the money to complete it in its entirety in 1929. So with that is these powder room style stations where we're going to again have these fancy sconces and this little mirror, so like, you know, if you're wanting to powder your nose, touch up your lipstick, how you would have done things in 1929. So we wanted, again, pay tribute to that historical accuracy, I guess you would have said, of what would have been here had, again, the stock market crashed. That had happened in 1929. So hopefully following through on some of the ideas they might have had, and if they didn't have a major event in American history happen, but I think we can give some tribute to that. So follow us into the men's room. So again, you're walking through the vestibule. This will have that gorgeous carpet. And then you'll come in and notice the immediate difference in design in the men's room. Much more geometric, darker colors. And again, having to find ways to pay tribute through the tiling and other design elements. Because again, Art Deco tile, not super popular right now. So we had to find ways to pay tribute through the tiling. So you can see its pyramid and its shape. Brandon actually thought of the flippy floppy design pattern of it. So it makes it look like it is intentionally pyramid-esque, a la Egyptian theater, Art Deco, all of that fun stuff. And then with the geometric elements of this light fixture is much more geometric in its shape as compared to the flowy, curvy lotus flowers of the women's bathroom. And tiny detail, probably don't notice, these things are square, rectangular, rather than the oval in the women. Again, leaning on that geometric versus curvy lines of the women's bathroom.
Yeah, so it's a very different style. When we get upstairs, you'll see the men's and women's restrooms are the same design on both floors, but that very different design between the men's and the women's. So we've got down here 5 new sinks, 3 hand dryers here, and then you'll come into kind of, we're calling it the toilet bay area. We've got 4 toilets here, 4 urinals there, and another 6 urinals over here. So toilet fixtures are in, urinals are in, all the tile is done in here, and you can also see the urinal screens. So these are absolutely gorgeous. These are really stunning. So a lot of the details in the women's restroom, we didn't have some of those details in here, so we picked up some of the additional details in the quartz here for the urinal screens. And most people on tours have thought this was pretty cool. We included above the urinals a drink ledge. That's right, we have a dedicated spot above the urinals for guys to be able to set their drinks down. Pretty cool amenity, I think.
Yeah, we're very excited about it.
Yes.
We're super excited.
You're very excited.
I'm very excited. I'm going to use it all the time, obviously.
So this is the new men's restroom on the first floor.
Yeah.
I know on the tour some people have been asking about what are all these different holes in the ceiling. So right now, this is not the permanent lighting either for the men's restroom. This is just construction lighting. We're going to have dedicated LED downlights throughout the ceiling here. And the larger holes, we're actually going to have speakers. So we don't have any of that in any of our restrooms or lobby spaces right now. So what's going to be able to happen is during a show, whether it's a live concert, comedy show, movie, we're going to be able to send that audio live through this audio system. So if you need to run to the restroom real quick, run to concessions, run out to the lobby with a fussy kid, you're going to be able to follow along and still listen to everything that's going on. We're also going to be able to make announcements to let you know, hey, the show's going to get underway in about 5 minutes, whether it's before the show or at intermission. So we are very excited. This is going to be a huge upgrade to our patrons. Just a really cool amenity that we're able to add through all of these restrooms and lobby spaces.
Yeah.
So, all right, anything else in here?
No.
All right.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
There is a question. I want to go back out to the blueprint drawing that explain it.
Let's.
So anyone that's just joining us now, we are doing our live hard hat tour, the first time we've done this. We're going to be continuing this every Tuesday at 5:30. Join us live on Facebook to see the most recent updates to construction. And if you have questions as we go along, please go ahead and type them in.
So there's a question about the layout of concessions. Existing concessions, everything, by everything I mean the popcorn machine and fountain, it's all located on the front counter. In new concessions, you see the popcorn machine's located on the back. We lose all of that cabinetry space, but we gain the storage in the back storage room. You have your 4 point of sale on the front counter, and then you have your 2 point of sale, and they each split a draft tower for the beer. And it wasn't talked about earlier, but we picked up this detail in concessions from the existing staircase and from our existing office space that you can't really tell.
So we tried to integrate as much architectural detail throughout this. So the hope is really after this project is done, people aren't quite sure
What's new,
what changed, and if that's the response from people, then we did a really good job. We want to make sure that everything throughout this really flows and works well. With the restrooms, the old restrooms coming out, we'll be matching that plaster detail on the new walls. So hopefully it will just open up and it will look like it's always meant to be here.
Yes.
So we will head into the new storage room here. Again, this used to be a stairwell going down to the mechanical basement. This has now been covered up, and this will get concrete poured hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And this is where those new doorways are going to go. So this is in the new building in the storage room here. We have to keep reminding ourselves as we occasionally look at this and go, man, this isn't that big. But it's like over 2 times what we currently have in another storage room.
Yeah.
So this will be for backstock for concessions, chairs, other things that we need to use in the lobby space. But we are also very excited, as are hopefully all of our volunteers, that we're going to have a dedicated spot for all of our volunteers when they come in. Right now, our volunteers use a back room where we have to throw coats and bags on boxes of toilet paper and popcorn seed and all sorts of other things. So we're going to have a dedicated spot here with lockers, be able to hang your coats, a great spot for volunteers to come in, keep all their stuff there, and we're really excited to be able to provide that. So this temporary construction wall that you see back there, that will become an actual doorway, and this is how we'll get our deliveries for concessions, beer, other things to kind of support all of our operations here.
Yeah.
So before we head downstairs, we'll show you the prep kitchen here. So this is not huge, but it's way bigger than anything we have right now. And this is going to allow us to support that liquor license as well as our expanded menu. This has all of the health department's guidelines and all the restrictions for kind of a prep area, whether it's prepping, lemons and limes for liquor service or other items that we're going to be serving. This will allow us to do that safely and cleanly. One of the things that Brandon, I think, is most excited about is that in here we will have an ice machine. We currently do not have an ice machine anywhere in the building, And Brandon has to go sometimes weekly and pick up about 50 bags of ice. And then we all help carry them in from his car. We've got 3 freezers hidden throughout the building that we have to keep bags of ice in, and that's what we use in our concession stand. So that's going to go away. We're going to have a dedicated ice machine here to be able to keep that stocked and not have to waste that time and energy being able to go and get that. So some really huge improvements that you, the public, might not necessarily see or appreciate, but we are very excited to be able to make those improvements.
So, Mary, you wanted me to show the volunteer wall. I will show you. It has been closed up. So Mary is an awesome volunteer at the Egyptian here. This wall was left open, and we were letting all of our staff and security volunteers sign it before the wall got closed up. And I believe it was closed up late last week or early this week.
Friday, I think.
Wow.
But we got lots of pictures of all the signatures. So
don't you worry.
yes. So this will be a new stairwell going down to the basement, and hopefully we'll keep cell reception. So Brandon will let us know if we drop out here. So this is the new basement here. In the back area, it's going to be a new walk-in beer cooler. So that's where we'll keep all of the kegs that will support the concession stands on the first and the second floor. We'll also have all of the syrup down here for the Coke lines, the CO2, everything else to support those concessions operations. We'll also be able to use this as some storage down here. You're going to hear us keep talking about how badly we need storage.
Yes.
So we are excited to be able to, we're not quite sure what we're going to use all these spaces for yet, but we're pretty confident
We'll
that
fill it.
somehow they will fill like that. So this is the new basement in the addition. And this back area is also in the new addition, but is the mechanical basement, and it's even deeper than the basement we are at right now. So this mechanical basement drops down even further. This basement is about 18 feet below grade level in the alley. This had to be this deep because of these air handlers back here. It's hard to kind of get a perspective, especially watching on Facebook. These 2 air handlers are just for the auditorium. Together, they're about the size of a school bus. And this is what is going to push all of the heat as well as air conditioning into the auditorium. We were very fortunate that the auditorium had existing ductwork for the old heating system, so we were able to tie into that for the new heating and air conditioning. So we've got 2 new very high efficiency boilers in here, the air handlers, sump pumps, water heaters, and it's just amazing how much piping and conduit and everything else is in this space to be able to support really this kind of state-of-the-art mechanical equipment.
Well, and when we're looking back, so December 2018, the whole reason this project started was air conditioning. We've never had it, so welcome to the party if you haven't heard. We've never had air conditioning, so we've always been closed from pretty much the middle of May till start of September. And the reason for the entire expansion is this room, is these air handlers, these units could not go on any of the roofs that currently were part of the Egyptian theater. So we knew we had to build someplace for them to go. We knew it had to be a certain size. And at that point we were like, well, there's some other issues we could definitely address, which came up: storage, bathrooms, concession stands. So really this room is the inception of the entire project because we were within inches of how much space we were allowed to have per code, and then that kind of dictated the rest of the building and what needs that we needed for you guys, because we wanted, this whole expansion is meant for the moment you walk out of your car and under the marquee into the theater, getting a drink, using the restroom, seeing a show. We want every experience to be a positive experience, and this expansion is totally catering to the patron's needs as well as our needs to better serve the patron with the ice machine, the extra storage space, so we're not walking through a show with a can of oil for a popcorn machine that just ran out of oil, because we have done it. It's not fun. We don't want to take out your ankles and shins anymore. So this will just make that experience even better. We won't be looking like we don't have storage. We will be adding that. So this room really is the epicenter for the rest of the building.
And by bringing these air handlers into the building, really lengthened the life of these. So if similar units like this would have been outside or on the roof, they would have had a lifespan of about 25 years. By bringing them inside and protecting them from the elements, we will get potentially about 50 years out of these units. So these being the largest units of all of the new units that were installed for HVAC, it was really important to try and have these inside to have as long of life as possible. These are not cheap units, and so we want to protect these and make them as efficient as possible.
Well, and one more thing in this.
Yeah.
Just to talk about like the challenge of reverse engineering a 90-year-old building, we had to do 4 big holes for these duct pieces to go through, and each one was 1,600 pounds. 1,600 pounds for that slab to cut out, and that is from the existing foundation wall on the exterior of the Egyptian Theater into Homer Court. So our general contractor will tell you that he slept very little during that week because they had to figure out a way to leapfrog cutting those to keep the structural integrity of the wall by cutting out a little bit, putting in an I-beam to take all that weight on, cut the rest out, and then leapfrog and then come back. So it was really an engineering marvel to watch them have to figure out how to reverse engineer a 90-year-old building to fit all of this 21st century equipment in while still keeping the structural integrity of the building as well as the historical integrity that we've been diligently working on.
So if you're just joining us, we're giving you a live hard hat tour, and if you've got questions as we go along, go ahead and type them in, and we'll try and respond to them as we go along. So we're in the new basement of the addition, but this here is the original foundation wall of the theater. This would have been way underground, and this is a new opening that was cut in to be able to connect the existing building with the new addition. So go ahead and come in here. So it's hard to tell if you've never had been down here before. But this was the original basement. If you want to look over here, this is where the staircase was that came down from upstairs. That staircase was taken out, and that new platform put in up above that will connect the main lobby to that new storage room. So down here we had huge ductwork. There was part of the heating system, an old boiler down here, water heaters. This pretty much entire basement area was filled with mechanicals. It was in really rough shape. I know it doesn't look great right now because we're still in the middle of construction, but this looks a million times better than it did before. So what you see here is the new ductwork. So as Janine was just talking about down here, and actually we'll see if Brain is willing to brave it, sneak down to the first opening.
And I wish the camera could see Brandon's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So this is one of the openings that had to go through the existing foundation. We have 4 of these. There's 2 supply ducts, 2 return ducts that had to come from that new basement through this foundation wall into here, and this new ductwork then ties into the original distribution system going up into the ceiling. And you can see down here, pretty much the entire floor is clear now, but up above is all of this ductwork. One of the new things that we can now do down here is have some storage. We were never able to really store anything down here, so as you see there, we have all of our, most of our Christmas decorations down here.
Yay.
We're planning to use this basement to store things that we only need once or twice a year. It's not the most convenient storage, but we'll take any storage we can get. So a lot of open floor space down here, but pretty much the entire head height is all new ductwork. So we've got those 4 new openings. As they go down here, you can see how they merge together and go into the main supply tower that goes up all the way to the ceiling above the auditorium and distributes down. So that's where all the heating is going, as well as the air conditioning once we get into the summer months.
And what's really interesting about this ductwork is we also worked pretty darn closely with some acousticians to make sure that it's very silent. Actually, when they first turned on the boilers, we literally had to touch it to feel that it was hot, because it's really quiet. It's quite quiet in here, and it's running. And that is
intentional.
Good. We paid money for that. So we wanted to make sure that while you're sitting in a show, say there's a ballad or you're watching a ballet, something very quiet, kind of a hush moment. We don't want you to be sitting there and all of a sudden it's like, and you're like, geez Louise, the heat is on, or the air conditioning. We really much wanted it, again, to be, you only notice it by being like, I'm really comfortable, this is nice. You are noticing all of these little major changes that have happened in the Egyptian. So we didn't want you to hear when the heat kicks on. We didn't want you to hear when the air conditioning is kicking on. So we very much worked very closely with the angles and how many turns and what's inside of these to provide padding to make it very quiet, to make it very much an air conditioning and heating system for a performance hall.
Yeah, there's a lot of details. As Janine mentioned, there's lining in the inside of these ducts that helps quiet that. There's duct silencers that are actual segments of these ducts that help prevent noise from the fans from continuing through the duct up into the auditorium. There's a lot of engineering behind how many turns, how big the duct sizes are, and even, we don't have all the doors in yet, but when the doors are all in, there's extra silencers in the door jambs, the doors, the sweeps, everything else, to make sure that the noise from the units down here don't actually get up into the auditorium.
Right.
We don't want the noise of these disrupting what's going on in the theater. So far we have been very
Super happy.
with the results of that, and we've even ramped them up to full.
And it's so quiet.
You can't hear anything in the auditorium. So
Well, another cool
job
part
well done.
too is we worked a lot. So luckily, again, having worked, 13 years now here? Something like that? Something like that. 15. Making connections with other theaters who have gone through these types of expansions and changes. So with that, one of the major issues was figuring out how to get air conditioning in our stage without changing the pressure and making it so, say the stage air conditioning is on and it's different than what's going on in the auditorium. Having the curtain closed, you could have that curtain move up to 3-4 feet. So we're trying to think, okay, what can we do? So actually, the ductwork is just open perforation, if you will, open grates at the bottom, so the air conditioning just drops out as compared to being blown out. It'll just drop down, and then we actually have floor radiant heat on the main level so that the heat stays down low. The air conditioning will drop up high because we've been able to talk with other people saying, what did you do? What do you wish you hadn't done? Wish you had done? And so we've been able to kind of pick people's brains. We know there's going to still be something where we're like, dang it! But trying to think of every possible problem that could come up with this, because it is a very complex project, and that was one long discussion, was how we were going to air condition the stage and not have our lights being hit by curtains that are moving because of difference in pressures. And
most of this project has felt like the cliche of trying to fit a square peg around a hole.
Yeah.
And as you can see with all this ductwork down here, very challenging to figure out how you put all of these brand new mechanicals into an existing historic 90-year-old building that was never designed for this. I bet if we could go back 90 years, nobody at that point would have thought any of this was going to be going in.
No.
And so we're trying to make it work, and so far we're really happy with how it's going.
Make it work.
Yes. So we're going to let Brandon lead the way and head back upstairs. We're going to take you up to the second floor, but as we're going along, if you have any questions, let us know. We'll head back up the stairs here.
So Tom, before we get to our next location to answer your question, the dressing rooms were actually renovated in 2008, 2010, sometime in then. We are, however, able to move forward with some technical advances in the dressing rooms. We'll add some of the speakers down there and some of the new TVs so that as an actor, when you're in the dressing room, you can see what's going on stage. But the physical layout of the dressing room, nothing is changing there. As part of this project, correct.
We have many phases that we'd love to do, but funding.
Excuse my being out of breath.
Yeah, we walk up the stairs later.
All right, so the second floor here, it's kind of hard to tell. Some of these new openings, we'll probably just go ahead and go into the expanded foyer. You can see a little bit better these openings here. So if you want to follow Janine in there, and she can explain this room.
Yeah, so welcome to our expanded foyer. As you can see, the ceiling's nice and high because we weren't limited by an already existing floor or ceiling from a 90-year-old building. So Yeah, I really shouldn't be out of breath from walking up those stairs, but it's happening. So this will be where Brandon is standing is our concession stand, which will add 2 additional serving stations on the mezzanine level, which we currently have 0. We just had Chris Jansen and Gaelic Storman only a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
literally set up a card table to have an extra bar, as well as extra concession stand that will be able to go away there and live permanently here.
With lots of space for people to line up and serve. So if you want to come over here, and you can see from over here the 2 new openings that go into the mezzanine. So that was the exterior wall. And we've got 2 new openings, the one we just came through minutes ago, and then this other one over here. And that will allow us a lot of great circulation.
Yes.
So as people come in, lining up for concessions, they can come in through these set of doors, line up at the concession stand, and then when they're done, they can go out through those doors. We also hope to be able to use this space for meetings, potential meet and greets with artists. We also have a lot of events here that just need some sort of other ancillary space. We've had things like different competitions that need a specific room for judges to meet. We've had nowhere for them to do that. We've had dance groups that need a specific room to do photos in. We don't have a space for that, so they've had to just set up in the lobby or some other spot. So this space, we believe, is going to get used a lot, not only as a concession stand, but as a meeting space. Back over here, this temporary construction wall, there will not be doors up here since this is on the 2nd floor, but this will be a big window up here. And it wasn't until we really got the 2nd floor poured up here that we were able to come up here and see what that new view was going to be like.
It's gonna be a big
And
space.
it's amazing. So this is going to be a big glass window that looks out towards 2nd Street. Beautiful view of the Hillside Restaurant next door, as well as Van Buren Plaza across the street. So it'll be a really fun spot before shows, intermission, to have a cocktail up here, and to be able to watch shows.
And for any of y'all that are little Christmas elves like Brandon and myself, we have asked for them to put a outlet right on the floor, so we'll be able to put a Christmas tree right here, leave it on the timer, so every night it'll light up.
Nice big Christmas
Dee, dee,
tree.
dee. Me and Brandon are very excited. I don't know if you've been here at Christmas time. but
It's the little things.
we get so excited.
So again, this is the expanded foyer. Down here will be the new concession stand. You can see kind of a soffit overhead here that kind of differentiates this space from the expanded foyer. We talked about all the way down in the basement, being able to get those lines up from the beer cooler as well as Coke lines. And we'll see, don't know if you'll be able to appreciate these 2 holes.
Go all the way down to
That's
the basement.
2 floors all the way down, and this is where we're going to have to fish those lines all the way up to this new concession stand.
Wouldn't you just die if you saw someone walk across it down there? Sorry
So-
to put that out there in the universe, but
Just to give you an idea of how much planning had to go into this project, those 2 holes had to line up from the concession stand up here through the 1st floor all the way down to the basement, keeping everything clear so that we could run those lines. A lot of conversations took place to make sure that those holes lined up correctly, and so far we're clear, so we're looking good for that. Back behind concessions here is going to be a new little storage room. Storage is what we are excited about.
and it's the last designed room in the building, if you can tell by all its little jogs, because we will take any square inch of storage we can get.
It's kind of a quirky space, but it really was. All the other spaces in the addition were the priorities.
Yes.
And so as we were finalizing everything, this room kept turning into kind of a weird shape. We knew it was going to be a storage room, and we kind of accepted the fact that it was going to be whatever shape it was going to be.
Yeah.
And we would take, as Janine said, every square inch we can get.
Yes.
Also up here, there will be a permanent ladder going in, but this is roof access up to the addition roof. We've got up there a rooftop unit that handles the HVAC just for the addition. We also have 2 new huge condensing units up there that supports the air handlers down in the basement for the auditorium.
Yep.
There's other stuff up there, exhaust fan for all these new bathrooms. So we've got a lot of mechanicals on the roof, as well as some compressors and other mechanical stuff for the concession stand, beer cooler, all that other stuff. A lot of stuff going on the roof, and so this gives us easy access to get up there when we need to do maintenance and just check up on things.
Yep.
So we'll head back
Last
out
stop
here.
on our tour.
Yeah. So one of the things I'll point out as we go and look at the new restrooms on the second floor, you can see there's a lot of mess going on the ceiling here. These are new LED lights. They don't have all the final touches in right yet. But we're really excited through this entire project, not just the addition, but all of the lobby spaces. We are upgrading stuff to be LED, so it's way more efficient. Not just the HVAC being high efficiency, but the lighting as well. If you think about it, this is a really big space, the theater, and with all of the lights throughout this building, they generate a lot of heat. So by being able to switch over to LED, which put out a lot less heat, it really helps with our air conditioning bill in the summer. So that was important to drop our electric bill, to be more green, environmentally friendly, but also to help us on, now that we're gonna have air conditioning, to be able to lower that heat load within the building. So getting new lighting throughout this space, new down lighting, there's gonna be all new gallery lighting on the walls. If you've ever been here, we occasionally put up our archives. We've got area artists that will put up displays, and we also have typically once a year, the DeKalb School District does an all-district art show that they use every square foot of the building up here, and so we'll have really much better lighting, a lot more space.
I mean, guys, it's
These
gonna
look
be
pretty.
so hard to part with these. They're so authentic to 1929 that sadly these will be no longer. If I would smash it without making a mess, I would.
Yes. So there's some of these things from the 80s. We are not losing any sleep over losing them.
No.
So we have a question. Michaela, there's nothing, we're not repurposing these lights in any sense. We will, however, the incandescent bulb inside, we will repurpose the upper balcony and even under the balcony on the main floor still uses incandescent bulbs. So we will repurpose them until they are no more.
But if anyone wants one of these lights, you can hit us up.
You can make a donation online right now.
And we will give you one of these ugly lights.
Yes.
Unless you like they're pretty. I mean, whatever.
Let's head down here. So this wall on the left was the exterior wall. And these were the old bathrooms up here, and we are not demolishing these like we had to on the first floor because we're able to open up this wall and go into the new restrooms. So here they open up the exterior wall to connect into the new addition, and this is where the new men's and women's restrooms are on the second floor. Right here is a new janitor's closet. To be able to support the restrooms up here and give us some more storage up here. And so you can see behind here, all the tile work is done in the women's restroom. This is going to have 6 toilets up here. Again, the women's restroom on the second floor right now only has 2. So we are tripling the size and very excited. So you can see they just started bringing in the plumbing fixtures today. Starting to work on the sinks, hand dryers are in, working on the lighting, and then on the other side here, the men's restroom as well, starting to work on all the plumbing fixtures. As we mentioned downstairs, we're using that same design. So the men's restrooms are the same on the first and second floor, as well as the women's are the same on the first and the second floor. One of the things we didn't mention downstairs, but making some huge improvements in terms of accessibility. So not just the restrooms, but as well as the concession stand will have huge improvements when it comes to ADA accessibility in the restrooms, the sinks, the hand dryers, a specific station at the concession stand, drinking fountains. So making some huge improvements there on both the first and second floor. And also right now, we don't have anywhere in the building a baby changing station. So that's going to be changing. We are...
It's good.
Yes. So we're going to be improving that and adding a baby changing station in the women's and men's restrooms on the first and second floor.
Yes.
So very excited about that. Little details here and there and everywhere to really make sure that your experience as a patron here at an event is as best as we can possibly make it. And we know these improvements are going to make it awesome for everybody that comes here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, anything else up here?
Nay.
So I'll come back into the lights here and yes. Any final questions as we wrap stuff up here?
There are not, but I want to give a shameless plug from behind the camera. If you're wondering how, outside of a monetary donation, you can give back, volunteering here at the Egyptian Theater. We are a nonprofit. Alex, Janine, and I are 3 of the admin. We have Mike, our full-time, and then we have 2 part-time folk. Everyone else you see, if you've come to an event, are volunteer. So we could not do this project. We could not stay open without the support of our volunteers. So just want to give a shout out. The trainings we had scheduled for March, unfortunately, have been taken off the schedule, but stay tuned for upcoming trainings. Roxanne had a question. Will the original bathrooms in the mezzanine be demolished?
Not currently.
No. So we're going to keep these up here. We'll probably, we're not going to use them as restrooms for the public. The men's, which is nothing exciting to look at. We've talked about possibly just pulling out a few of the fixtures in there and using that as storage, because we need so much storage.
Guys, did you hear that we need storage? Like, it's kind of a theme.
Yes. And then the women's restroom up here, we haven't talked about what we're going to do yet.
Maybe an employee lounge.
Yes.
You know.
We've talked about, a nursing lounge or something like that.
Yeah.
So not sure what we're going to do with these yet, but we're really excited to bring the new restrooms online. So real quick, talking about timeline.
Yeah.
If you've been on one of our hard hat tours over the last couple of weeks, you had heard kind of our timeline, and that has changed very quickly.
Yes.
But in a good way, actually.
Yes.
So we're trying to make the most out of this kind of ongoing rotten situation that's going on around the country. If you haven't watched some of our other videos, we are, like pretty much every other venue in the country, shutting down to public events through the end of April. We're continuing to roll out announcements about when we're able to reschedule stuff, what's canceled, and what's going on with that. So with all of that going on, we were able to move forward with construction a little bit sooner than originally planned with the demolishing of the first floor restrooms and concession stand. That was going to be very tight and very challenging to try and figure out when we were going to do that in the middle of having shows every single weekend. And that was going to be a little bit longer process because of having shows every weekend. So with all of this going on, we're able to move forward, not have to worry about cleaning stuff up every weekend and keeping stuff online. So yesterday when that was decided, they immediately started demolishing the concession stand, the first floor bathrooms, and our hope is that in the next couple of weeks here, while we're down dealing with this, just as everyone else is, that our construction is going to be able to move along. In terms of kind of the safety of that, we're fortunate to be at the point in construction where we have just a handful of people on site every day because we're doing a lot of finishing touches. So we don't have a large amount of people on site at any time. The public's not in here. So at this point, we've had a lot of conversations about the safety of all of us as staff and our construction workers that are in here, and we're going to continue moving forward with that. We've been putting hand sanitizer bottles all throughout the building, making sure people are washing hands. Anyone that's even marginally sick is staying home. So we're doing really good. We're hanging in there. I want to just give a huge thank you to all of our staff, Brandon, Janine, Mike, Nora, Cody, David, Mike, all the Mikes.
All the Mikes.
Everybody
interns,
that's been,
Sean, Gabe.
our NIU interns. This has been such an unprecedented event that we have had to figure it out day by day, hour by hour, figuring out what we're going to do, not only for our programming, operations, all of our trainings for volunteers, Brandon communicating with our volunteers about upcoming events, coordinating with all of our community groups, traveling artists. We've had private events, tours. I think we're up to about 30 different events just in the next couple of weeks that we're having to work on rescheduling or canceling, notifying people. So this has been a logistical nightmare. But we're making the best of it. So again, we've been saying in some of our most recent videos, but I want to thank you, our fans, the public, the community out there for your continued support. Since we are on our hard hat tour, definitely need to mention that we are continuing to fundraise for this project. We will get through this current challenge that's going on in the world, and we're going to be here for another 90 years, and this project is going to help make sure that we are rock solid for those next 90 years.
We just need to write a warning. Like, 90 years ago, Great Depression. The next 90 years, and we're like, in 90 years, like, gird the loins. Like, we don't know what's going to happen, but there's a trend, a 90-year trend that we don't want y'all to be a part of.
Yes.
But no, you guys have been super, super supportive. When we made the announcements, y'all have been super nice. Like I said, you made my job super easy. You've been super supportive of why we've made these cancellations. I mean, we all kind of understand what's going on, even as it changes. So thank you for making our jobs easy, in the sense that we don't have to explain ourselves as to why we're doing this. Y'all are understanding, and thank you.
So if you want to support us and this project, you can do that today by going to lightscameradonate.org. You can make a donation online. We always say no donation is too small or too big, and will help us finish this project. We're currently over the $4 million mark. This total project is around $5.5 million, so we are well on our way to completely funding this project, and we really need your help to get us across that finish line. So if you're able to make a donation, we encourage you to do that online. You can also mail it in, call us. We will help you make that donation. As a 501c3 nonprofit organization, that is tax deductible.
Yep.
And so we really appreciate your support. I know a ton of you watching have already made a donation, and so we thank you for your support.
Yep.
And we're going to be coming up very soon, and not too many more weeks, on Give to DeKalb County Day.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk just briefly about that?
Yeah, so we're going to be fundraising for the carpet.
Why?
Why? It's so good. I mean, it's so in line with what would have been here in 1929. So with that, again, going into this whole theme of Art Deco Egyptian theater style isn't super popular. Same with the carpet. We couldn't really go to Menards or Lowe's and be like, do you have Egyptian Art Deco? And have them be like, yeah, let me get the book. So we actually have been able to work with a designer and a company out of Georgia that does historic carpets in theaters, hotels, casinos, that big pattern. So we're going to have custom colors to match our rest of the design, custom parts of our architecture, like, again, the lotus flower, the scarab beetle, the cobras. So we hope every time you come in, you notice something a little different, that this carpet is meant to be here, that if they had the funding again in 1929, they might have been able to put this carpet in. So we will be doing our Egyptian Theater News Team Revival for the 3rd year in a row. So we'll be coming to you live every hour on the hour to raise hopefully $20,000 for our carpet. And the reason for such an expensive carpet, this pays for part of it. When we were looking at a cheaper version of this carpet that would have been printed on top, has about half the life.
20-25 year
Yeah,
lifespan.
and we were looking at this wool carpet, which is dyed all the way down, so it's not going to wear off the top, and it was, what, $20,000?
About $15,000 more.
But it extended the life by an additional, 20 years. So we're like, well, we're talking in the right ballpark. So we made the decision to go ahead with the more expensive carpet that is going to have a longer life. We see a ton of traffic through here. We're up to almost 45,000 people a year through this building. So there's a lot of walk and wear and tear. And as we're adding 3 more months of programming with the air conditioning, we're only going to see more spills, more walking, more traffic just on this carpet. So we really wanted to invest in something that's so centric to the rest of the feel and the design of the building. We didn't want to cheap out there. So we will be coming to you live again, more information on that carpet. We're going to be having people talk about the design elements and all these different things. So stay tuned. That is on May 7th, and we will again be live all day. So stay tuned.
With special guests and all
Special
different
guests.
parts of the building.
We've had interns offer to shave their heads if we get to a certain dollar amount. So if you have something you want to see our interns do, that will not stop us from getting another intern. Something fun. We were thinking of dumping popcorn.
Yeah.
You know, like a nice
Something
bucket
harmless.
challenge, but with popcorn, as one does.
Movie theater popcorn challenge.
So stay tuned. Again, we'll be sharing information between now and May 7th, just on the design of the carpet and different things. So again, stay tuned. We're really, really excited, and we will be getting hopefully a traffic report from yours truly to be something fun.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. He's got the vest.
Yes.
Right?
So that's going to wrap up our virtual hard hat tour. our first ever, and we're going to continue this Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. Join us back here. We'll take you through and show you what's different and what's improved. And we're really excited to keep showing you the progress as it comes along. And we know we keep talking about how tough things are right now and how challenging, but we hope this brings a little bit of a moment of levity, some fun, some entertainment. As the Egyptian Theater go all the way back to when this first opened in the 20s and 30s, going through the Great Depression, multiple wars. That was the purpose of these theaters, whether it was vaudeville, whether it was movies, was to give you a moment to escape from reality, to escape from your daily life. Come in here and enjoy what was on our stage. So we look forward to the day that you're able to join us back in here, watching stuff on stage, laughing with us, applauding and cheering and dancing in our aisles. And this project is going to make that super exciting. So
until then, we'll be really entertaining. Like
yes. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more vaudeville
So
stuff.
thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great night, and we will see you again very soon.
Tuesday, 5:30.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Woo!